Council. The Chairman, Vice Chairman, National Secretary, Head of Blocks, members of the NEC, Your Highness, Reverend, Bishop of the Fivefold Ministry, members of the Fivefold Ministry, professors, doctor, all clergy and laity as represented in the National Executive Council NEC of Cannes, South Africa, all other protocols observed. Greetings in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ. We, the representatives of the National Executive Council of the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, South Africa, known as PFNSA, after a brief meeting held on this day, 6th March 2021, have chosen to respond to the extended hand of fellowship/invitation to officially become a member of Cannes, South Africa. This is in respect to the invitation that the National Executive Council Cannes, South Africa, extended to PFN South Africa on this day, 27th of February 2021, and the fulfillment of a promised response from the President of PFN South Africa. We commend the effort of this noble leadership to do the needful, and as we deem this overdue, and we pledge that we will not hesitate to continually support the good cause of this incumbent leadership that is fostered into an all-inclusive, united governance in and within the perimeter of Cannes, South Africa. We will not hesitate to officially act. We will not undermine the sacrificial act, relentless pressures, criticisms, selfless and compromising approaches from all and sundry to ensure that the formidable foundation of Cannes, South Africa is laid. Hence, this achievement, an extension of the legacy of our fathers from Nigeria. We respect the views of the ex-chairman, late Archbishop Benson Owa, of blessed memory. May his soul rest in peace. The immense contribution of Bishop Professor Chidebere Ogun, the cooperating approach of Bishop Frank Ogaba, the President of PFN South Africa, and his National Secretary, Apostle Hermes Eugene. The reconciliatory steps of Bishop Amos Gwenu, to mention but a few. These inputs brought about the celebration of an iconic milestone today, which we believe will be a paradigm shift if well handled. Hence, new and better trailblazing phase for Cannes, South Africa. For posterity and record's sake, it will pay to note that after close to 5 years from the date of the inauguration of Cannes, South Africa, PFN South Africa just of recent officially was just of recent and officially invited and accepted to function as part of the blocks that constitute Cannes, South Africa. The reasons behind this simple act is still shrouded in secrecy, and we believe it can only be explained by a few key actors within the ranks and file of Cannes, South Africa. Numerous efforts have been made by Bishop Amos Gwenu, Professor Chidebere Ogun, to induct PFN South Africa as part of the blocks of Cannes, South Africa. Thank God, today, we are reaping the dividends. Rumors have it that Archbishop Benson Owa of blessed memory, who served as the first chairman of Cannes, South Africa, served under the platform of PFN South Africa. We will love this body today to have it on record that Bishop Benson Owa was not a registered member of PFN South Africa, never attended any meeting with our organization, and was never endorsed by PFN South Africa to represent them in any organization and in any capacity at any point in time. For this sake, of clarity, PFN South Africa was never member bloc in CAN South Africa until this day, 27th of February 2021. We will encourage CAN South Africa to note that PFN South Africa participation and involvement as part of an affiliate bloc of CAN South Africa started from this day, there was with us, excuse me, 27th of February 2021, when we were officially invited and formally welcomed. As one could not just become part of what one knew nothing about, we understood that CAN South Africa is a diaspora continuation of the legacy of our fathers from Nigeria. Could only have founded her rooting from CAN. CAN is founded in Nigeria in 1976, a counterweight to the growth of political Islam. CAN came to prominence in the mid-80s in a debate over Nigeria's membership to the OIC as an Islamic organization. CAN has been described as an umbrella body for Nigeria Christians. One of CAN's national presidents reiterated that CAN is also politically inclined, as politics is God's calling and government, and it is the department of God's kingdom on earth. Dr. Mbang added that the task before the church in Nigeria is to develop a strategy to recruit a new crop of Christians who will appreciate and extol the virtue of honesty and accountability, take the center stage in the administration in the country. That you can find in Post Express on this day, 19 September 2000. CAN, by structures, epics her leadership from the National CAN Assembly. Next is the National Executive Committee until a rundown to the parish/local church CAN and youth wing and women wing respectively. CAN comprises of 5 known and accredited blocks, which are: number 1, the Catholic Secretariat of Nigeria, CSN, the Christian Council of Nigeria, the Organization of African Instituted Churches, OAIC, Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN, Christian Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, CPFN, and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. And the 5th is the TECAN and EQUA Fellowship. With respect to CAN's view and her structuring, of which CAN South Africa is an extension of, CAN South Africa tends to tailor her structuring so as to mirror that of her mother body and still adapt to South African environment and system without much compromise to our coexistence. This CAN South African structure, as we were originally enlightened during the inauguration of CAN South Africa, of which PFN South Africa National Exco were present as witness by CAN ex-president Ayo Olusegun, and in the unseen/drafted constitution are 5 blocks in formation. This, we believe, was well spelled out in both CAN and CAN South Africa draft constitution. We will not relent in our contribution to promote a healthy CAN South Africa. Excuse me, read again. We will not relent in our contribution to promote a healthy CAN South African nomenclature and vision, as long as the unity and the vision of the organization is not distorted or diverted. PFN South Africa on her own is an extension of Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, PFN. PFN, which is found in the 1970s, and as aforementioned, an affiliate body of CAN, hence of a huge necessity for PFN South Africa to maintain the status quo here in South Africa. PFN South Africa incorporates Nigerians and non-Nigerian Pentecostal ministers and their institutions that are Bible-believing. Our vision is that we ought also to love one another, which we derive from John chapter 4 verse 11. PFN South Africa was first inaugurated as a provincial chapter in Western Cape Town by Reverend Dr. Omobude, the ex-president of PFN. There and then, a mandate was given to Bishop Frank Ogaba to ensure that it enjoys a national front. By the support of Reverend Charles Okereke, Apostle James Eugene, and later Bishop Professor Chidebere Ogu, and other current members of NEC ESCO, PFN South Africa was officially inaugurated in 2015 on the national platform. We currently have PFN South Africa branches in almost the entire province of South Africa and enjoy a huge representation of our membership down to her municipal chapters. PFN South Africa is looking forward to adding value to CAN South Africa by consolidating on the already fair and formidable work on ground, by weighing in our areas of advantages. We will also help to sharpen and tighten the support structure of this prestigious organization. Our numerical strength will be of enormous advantage as well to strengthen the voice of CAN South Africa, to mention but a few. We will also encourage that areas of shortcomings, mistakes, and oversight be rectified and polished within the shortest possible time. In view of this, PFN South Africa, as part of CAN South Africa, now is requesting that, number one, a proper and official invitation letter from CAN South Africa be sent to PFN South Africa as member blocks, signed by the current chairman, his secretary, and members of all head of blocks, be delivered to the office of the National Secretary of PFN South Africa. Number two, a proper clarity as to how many blocks are currently structured in CAN South Africa. Who are these blocks? What they stand for? From the previous CAN South Africa meeting we attended so far, it seems like there are some ambiguities and dark shading surrounding this issue. PFN South Africa will be glad to be part of a healthy organization, well-defined structure, and a unified house. Number three, PFN South Africa will love to see, within the shortest possible time, an equal representation of all block members in CAN South Africa and in all the leadership structure of CAN South Africa. This will not only facilitate transparency and encourage membership with passionate sense of belonging, but also foster balance in the decision-making and healthy leadership within this great organization. Number four, due to a lot of hearsay and unverification of the unseen adopted constitution, PFN South Africa as of today has not much confidence in the draft constitution. Hence, a call for an amended constitutional review, an immediate constitutional review and reform. This house cannot try without a verified and a generally accepted constitution that involves the collective input of all members and blocks. PFN South Africa moves to encourage viable leadership composition void of hegemony. Number five, PFN South Africa from today is seeking to encourage CAN South Africa to respect the individual modus operandi of individual blocks and organizations that constitute CAN South Africa, guided by their respective constitutions. Their choice of who is their representative in CAN South Africa high ranks of leadership is the sole duty of the member blocks and not an imposition or choosing from CAN South Africa. PFN South Africa of recent had such interference from the neck of CAN South Africa and is seizing this opportunity to call for a stop to such an unhealthy act. The policies and politics of CAN South Africa is expected to lead with good examples worthy of emulation and should poise with respect for individual body and maintain a united front within her structure. In conclusion, it will do CAN South Africa good that the leadership of this prestigious organization should at this sensitive time suspend unnecessary fightings, disease from individual interests, purge egoism or egocentrism from our midst, and pilot this ship with love. PFN South Africa encourages that we remain selfless in services, bearing in mind that we all will give account of all we have done as leaders, whether good or bad. On behalf of the incubated president of PFN South Africa, Bishop Frank Ogaba, and his leadership team, we celebrate this immense contribution of this great leadership, and we believe that the best is yet to come. We might at certain occasions disagree to agree, but we encourage that the backdrop of our action, reactions, and decisions be based on love. We encourage that the unity of the body be maintained at all times with a bond of peace. Shalom, salam of great God Almighty, and thanks. Signed, Bishop Frank Ogaba, PFN SA National President. Signed, Apostle Hannes Eugene, PFN SA National Secretary. Signed, Reverend Dr. Chris Ugwala, PFN SA National Treasurer. Signed, Bishop Dr. Amos Bengo, PFN National Welfare Director. Thanks.
Thank you so much for a well-read and articulated, let me say, address. I don't know if anybody has anything to say on this. Yes, if anyone has anything to say on this response to this response. Okay, Dr. Magnet. And after you say.
Okay, I just want to make, I appreciate the letter. I think it was very inclusive and it was quite detailed. I wish though that we had just one-page letter of thank you and acceptance, and then the rest can follow under observation and corrections and all that. So it is unfortunate too that PFN came in at a time when we were turbulent, and I want to say that that is not the normal thing. As a matter of fact, before the Archbishop died, we've not really had any confusion like this. We've had one little thing which was no big deal, but our meetings have not been this turbulent. So I don't want PFN to think this is how cancer is. So it would have been really nice if you just gave us a one-page acceptance letter, thank you, and then the rest can fall under observation of cancer so far. I just thought, after you read for a while, I forgot what you said previously. And I think you have a right to make that observation because it's based on what you saw. But I just want the brethren to know that this is not normal with cancer. So things will get better.
Praise God. Bless God for the fear, the Casting Fellowship of Nigeria. welcome. Hallelujah. Amen. Glory to God. I still talk the line of what Dr. Martin said. I don't think that some of the things placed here should be in mind. It should be an observation and allow the House, the executive to deliberate on it. It should be an observation submitted to the executive that this is what we have observed in the meeting so far, and that we would like the appeal was made, these things to be cleared up. That is number one. And number two, I want to observe is that in the paragraph, the last paragraph in the fourth page, say for posterity's sake. I'm not trying to bet with this, I'm just trying to for posterity's sake. It prepares to note that after close to 5 years from the date of the operation of cancer in South Africa, wow, just of recent officially invited and accepted to function as part of the loss that goes to cancer. Then here I would say that eventually it's not true. Part of it could be true, that this is the time that PFN now accepted to function, but not that there is the first time they are invited. Let me bring you back that I remember the last general meeting that my young brother was here. He attended the general meeting at Greenwood. And that general meeting, we discussed about the registration. After the meeting, in fact, we sat more than the hours we had during the meeting to chat and to talk. And we had a lot of talk. The next time we had an executive meeting, it was Reverend Gardner that rose this thing that PFN should be officially written. In fact, at that time, many of us said no. It's not because we don't want, why must PFN be written? No other block has been written. The PFN, their block is dead. They need just to occupy their block. But at the end of the day, he said, the count is supposed to be one. And for love's sake and for peace sake, that letter was written. I think Reverend Akiga can attest to that. That letter was duly written and sent, and it was sent to the Secretary General of PFN. I think you received it in your WhatsApp. Time has passed, but I do not forget things. Praise God. So when we write that, this part of that is not true. Anybody can deny it, but I can stand here anytime, any day, the next 10 years, and tell you that this was what happened. Either that PFN neglected it and made it not important, but that was not the first time PFN was officially invited. Thank you.
Please, I was thinking before you say something, let them finish.
Am I supposed to write down what you mean?
Want to say something?
No, I'm saying we make our observations before they respond to us.
That's why I say you should write whatever you want to say now, so that after the observation you can respond.
Praise the Lord. First of all, I will say thank God that we are all together, as you have just heard from my previous speakers. But I have seen this letter with very, very, strong reservations. That's me, my personal opinion. Because if you look at the content of this letter, it was, number one, if you start from paragraph 2, it is totally, and it was repeated in other paragraphs as well. The second to the last paragraph of the first also was repeated. Because when we're building a thing that's going to last and stand the test of time, it is important and you start opening up some things. That's how I feel. Then if you look further down in the same second page, there's a strong indication of this. If you look at the last sentence of that. So the reason behind this simple act is still studied in secrecy, and we believe it can only be explained by few key actors within the ranks and files of cancer. This is unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate in letters. Like Dr. McNeil said just now, the first time that cancer started having something that is not, we cannot 100% glorify God, is only of recent. And again, if you go to paragraph 4 of the same thing, there's also a statement that does not represent the truth, which President Okola just alluded to. I don't want to mention that again, because even on that day, I was being crucified. Bishop Obama himself gave me an instruction when he told me, ask them to do this. And when I brought it there, I think maybe it was a strategic meeting, or I can't remember which of them it was. I was almost the Lone Ranger against the rest of the people. But eventually we insisted, and he instructed me the letter should be sent to Eugene. When Reverend Akiga sent that letter, I sent it to Eugene's WhatsApp page, and sent it to Reverend Okolo Kiriki's WhatsApp page. Even on subsequent dates, the bishop himself, we were discussing about it, and I said, the letter was sent. He said, no, it was sent to the people. He told me he never received it officially, but he followed up with his instruction. And the other thing I want to speak on before I sit down so that others can speak are two issues. One on the demand, number one. It is another challenging thing that a proper and official invitation letter is being demanded. I would say to an extent it's unfortunate in the sense that, as I want to use an analogy of being Nigerians, I'm yet to see any of us who wrote to the federal government of Nigeria, I want to be a Nigerian. Because PFN from inception, even on the constitution that's been trashed in the next page now, PFN's position has been recognized and duly placed the way it's supposed to be. Constitution that is drafted was signed by everybody. That was when the fellowship completed 3 years. That was the day it was signed. Those documents are with the late Archbishop's family. Unfortunately, I remember sometimes people were sent to go on a trip and all that. I raised some issues with Reverend at some stage. It was just raising concerns on the proper way it should be done. So the last thing I want to talk about, when we talk about imposition in paragraph, that's demand number 5. On the day Apostle Eugene raised this thing, when I proposed Reverend Martin as a national, as the interim head of block for that group, I wanted to speak, but I was not giving the space to speak. This is an organization that has been in a growing stage and growing state where a lot of structures have been put in place. None of us here can say we are occupying this position because we qualify for it. Anybody who say that would be misplacing, it would be a misplaced argument. Let me put it that way. It was by appointment. Like all of us, most of us here are pastors. When you start your church, you begin to
put structure in place. You are going to be the usher. You never wait for somebody there. I was going to explain to Eugene, Apostle Eugene, sorry, sir, when he raised that concern of the day, but I was not allowed. Nobody has imposed anything. The purpose for this, up to this, maybe this level, I don't know, in the last few months, I don't know what's been going on. Up, I just wanted to finish
No,
this.
I'm not. I can't regulate you. I just want to know where you're referring to, just for the.
Number 5, the last 2 sentences at the bottom.
Okay.
So, up to this very moment, Reverend George Martins and Bishop Benro are the only registered member of cancer to date. I don't know, maybe things have changed because there have been a whole lot of things going on which I'm not privy to. So, based on this probability, Reverend Bishop Benro, based on the strategy of cancer, which some of them I was somehow involved, Bishop Benro has been or is a strong or a student member of what we call an associate. It is based on that, not because I've related with him on a personal level as on stage. We share podium together as some levels. It is based on that I was proposing John Martin. John Martin is neither my friend nor my enemy. He was not even there on the day. It was based on that because the agenda of SOSIC was to see that they bring every one of us under their own control. And there were also moves that we were going to try and align with SACC and so on. I remember when they went to what's the name? Raymond Bible Church. A lot of our own people, I don't know if Bishop Benro was among them that day, but most of them were there. Aligned with SACC, with SOSIC against cancer. Then the latest letter we wrote with 4SA that included what we call the church on level 3. Cancer made a direct representation to the presidency and a united representation through 4SA. I will forward that document on our page later, where cancer is placed on number 7. So it was based on this, not like anybody is imposing anything.